All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I'm going to be reading a little bit of scripture and giving my interpretation of it, okay? So this is a good point to make real quick. With scripture, it is open to interpretation. You have people who think they know what everything means, who think they are the authority and what something means, okay? I always try to tell you that I always try to give you an outlook and a perception. A lot of people not going to agree with me, so therefore I'm not always trying to make people agree with me. These are just my perceptions, my interpretations of things when you on my channel, and either you can value it or you may not, or you may choose not to, okay? So now, with that said though, this is going to be supporting a video that I just did right below this one. So I was talking about women taking care of men. I know this is not popular, like I said, but women taking care of men financially, and just talking about some of the things that's going on in the world and some of the motions that appear to be happening. Okay, and so with that said, right, you have Isaiah verse 4 or chapter 4, verse 1 through 1 2. Okay, it's the American Standard Version. All right, and it says, "And 7 women shall take hold of one man in that day, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only that us be called by thy name. Take thou away our approach." Okay, so what does that mean to me, especially in context? Okay, so this is in regards to, it'll be a time where there's a lot of war going on, or that it's at a time where, and this is prophecy. Okay, this is a prophetic verse. Okay, and so it's where a lot of war and things like that is going on, and being any way that you have women outnumbering men anyway. But at this time where there's a lot of war and a lot of men are dying out, okay, and speaking of how at this time women would be seeking men of the Lord. I don't like using that word Lord, but they'll be seeking men of the Most High. Now, this is when it gets good, and it kind of piggybacks off of the previous video. Okay, now we know how the average population will respond to women seeking men and pursuing men and things like that. Now we know this happens, okay, but it's kind of common to think that men are supposed to pursue women. You know what I mean? And we come to accept that generally, okay. But the thing is, guys, and this day that is being spoke of in that verse is a day where women are going to be seeking, like I said, men of the Lord, or men of the Most High. Now, this is the thing. It's not necessarily because they're going to be seeking men, because they're going to want men to take care of them financially. This is speaking of a point in time where, like I always try to tell you or prepare you for, where money is going to start to become very irrelevant. Okay. Now, I know that sounds extremely crazy to a lot of you guys. Okay, but money is going to be kind of irrelevant. And only thing that you're going to be able to hang your head on is kind of how it is becoming now. Yes, money is still a factor, but it kind of how it's always been. But through structures and systems and programs and things like that, most of the population have been able to hide behind those structures, those systems, those programs. Well, but at the end of the day, we all need the Most High to continue to keep going. Is at the end of the day, we're all subject to the Most High's will. Okay, so this is speaking of a time where all that would be have come down completely. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people hate to accept it, but we're in the process and in the beginning stages of all this now. Okay, and in that hour, the only thing you're gonna be able to hang your head on is the grace of and the blessings of the Most High to keep you afloat. Um, and as a woman, you're it's gonna be real easy to distinguish who's being favored by the Most High and who's not. You see what I mean? And then in that moment, like how it is nowadays, how it has been for a long time, a lot of women are going to be seeking to use a man for his connection to the Most High, because when your money can't no longer save you, when your status in society can no longer save you, when none of those things are going to matter, you know what I mean? Then you're going to just want to try to cling on to who seems to have the favor of the Most High. And you have that in the world now, where you can see there's some people who seem to have the favor of the Most High. Under any circumstances, they seem to be fine and they're always taken care of. You see what I mean? It might not be the way that the world desires a person to be taken care of or whatever, but, or, you know, people may judge how a person is being taken care of. But at the end of the day, if a person is being taken care of and looked after, then they're being taken care of and looked after. And the Most High is not reduced to man's way of thinking and man's programming and what man wants to think and how man likes to think. So the Most High has many ways of upholding and maintaining things and someone, okay? So I always like to look at it that way, or I don't always try to explain this, but that's a good way of explaining it. Like, you know, take all the superficial element out of things, and just sometimes you got to sit back and look at it and be like, wow, that person or that group of people seem to have the favor of the Most High. They seem to somehow be blessed to make it and maintain and things like that. And so it'll be that way when it comes to women. There'll be a time where literally men of the Most High. Now, this is all prophesied. This is in the Bible. So if you believe your Bible, like a lot of people say they do and things like that, then I guess you have no choice but to believe these parts of it too. There will be men that will begin to gain supernatural power through the blessings of the Most High. He will bestow supernatural, what we consider supernatural powers, on some men. And those would be the type of things that will be needed and that will be necessary to maintain and to get through what we're in at the beginning stages of what we're in right now, and then definitely going forward and as we get deeper and deeper into things. Some of this has already started to happen. It's taboo. People have different ways of wanting to try to look at it and wanting to try to define it, but I can speak from firsthand experience. There are some people that's gaining gifts, or that gifts are waking up, or are being more prevalent and more evident now than they ever have been in recent history or in a person's life, as far as they know. You know what I mean? Certain things are waking up within people. People are getting certain gifts, starting to display certain supernatural and spiritual gifts and powers, okay? And these are the type of things that are going to become more and more prevalent into the future. And these are the type of things that's going to be needed more and more as we go on. You know what I mean? When as other stuff will start to become more obsolete, if that makes sense. So what it takes to survive, say in the moment now, might be completely irrelevant in the future, or it might be less relevant, or it might become more and more less relevant. And so this is my take on what that verse means. And then in a moment of survival, guys, it's easy to say what you will and won't do when you have a certain level of comfortability. But with prophecy, and as things can continue to transpire like prophecy said it would, the more and more people start to believe. Those who choose to wake up. Some people would choose to remain asleep or stay in a certain mind frame when going through things. It's just how it's like a coping mechanism. But for people who choose to wake up, realize what's going on and things like that, and start to believe more and more, and their faith or their belief will grow. I don't want to say faith, because that's another thing. At that point, it will be the Most High's discretion and the men and or women of the Most High's discretion as to who mercy will be given to at that point. Because at that point, it would be real easy then to try to latch on to somebody. It's no different than if you treated somebody a certain type of way their whole life when they weren't in a certain predicament. And then when they become, what do people value, you know what I mean, like right in the moment, right? A lot of people, not all, fame, you know what I mean, you know, money or whatever it is that you value, things like that, things and stuff like that. So if you go from rags to riches, right, people may treat some people who value those things and who are superficial like that and what I would call fake like that, they will begin to have treated you one way and you know thought of you one way, and then once those circumstances change, and let's say you became rich and famous or something like that, they may change their attitude and their way of perceiving you and all those types of things. They may change that once those circumstances change, right? Well, that, you know, so just how that is obvious, it'll be the same way when it comes to the point where it's clearly obvious that nothing worldly is going to be able to save you, you know what I mean, and maintain you and keep you afloat. And then if the Most High is bestowing certain favor on certain people, and then that's evident, then, you know, it'll be real easy for everybody to try to jump on the bandwagon. And so obviously it's probably not going to work out for everybody if they try to do that, right? So like I was saying, to go back, you know what I mean, you never say what you will or won't do unless you get into certain circumstances. So it's a lot of things that people say they won't do right now, but in those circumstances they may find themselves buckling or submitting to a certain way of life to in order to be able to survive, and not just survive but be blessed. Because this is the thing, it's prophesied that in that moment, while some people are going through literally hell on earth, there'll be other people who that won't be. They won't just be seeming to get by or just be doing okay. The Most High will have them in a space where they're literally thriving, okay, on all levels. That's why you always see me trying to lay the foundation for you guys, and lay the foundation for people, and always trying to get you to value the things that you really need to be trying to value. You know what I mean? Like the Most High, like family, mastering your thoughts, your mind, your emotions, and things of this nature, because those are the things that you need to be prepping yourself with right now, that the Most High wants to see, because he wants to see certain character. He wants to see the inside. You see what I mean? He wants to know what you are really built of, not the things that you can acquire right now, not the worldly things, not the, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. He wants to see what you're made of in here, okay? And then from that point on, he could begin to bless you with other things, because he knows what your character is on the inside. You know what I mean? So that's what you need to be working on right now while you have the opportunity. You know what I mean? And so that's why you always see me trying to push those things. Making yourself royalty, making yourself worthwhile to be in the midst of the Most High under any circumstance. Okay? And then he can give you anything else after that. Okay? But sometimes what we try to do is we try to overlook what he's really trying to give us. You see what I mean? That will in turn make us better all around and make us more powerful and more of use to him. And we try to skip that and try to make ourselves more valuable from a worldly aspect. Okay? And so with that said, going back to the verse though, is that's how in my opinion you can have, and 7 is just a number of completion. That number may vary for different people. You know what I mean? It could be less than that, it could be more than that. Okay? But the point is, it's prophesied that there will be women trying to flock to certain men of the Lord for different reasons, but mainly survival, protection. You know what I mean? Because it's just not about, it's about protection too. And can one man protect anybody? No. But once the Lord, if you think about kings like David and other kings, like the Lord can bestow certain, like these are biblical stories. You know what I mean? When you have men or who appear to be men, but once they gain certain supernatural power from the Lord or from the Most High, they were able to do feats that we only consider supernatural at this point. So while you looking at it like right now, there may be women who feel protected by their man. Let's say he's a real tough guy, known for being a tough guy or whatever, and the average guy wouldn't mess with the guy or something like that, right? And that's good and that's protection. And all men should be trying to do the best they can. Stop, please, Asani. Should be trying to do the best they can to protect not only themselves but their family and significant other if they have one, and things like that. But at the end of the day, when you rely on that type of protection, it's only a matter of time before you meet your match. And in this day that I'm talking about, it will only be a matter of time, right? You know what I mean? Like, even if you won 100 battles, eventually your number gonna get called when you gonna run up on your match, and you're not gonna always be able to protect yourself and or your family or whatever. So that aspect of it kind of got to be out the window. You know what I mean? That's why I don't want to say I kind of laugh or chuckle at the aspect of people trying to stock up on guns and weapons and all that type of stuff, even food, all that type of stuff is good within reason, but it's not gonna save you. Okay, you're gonna run out of ammunition one day. Your gun ain't gonna work one day, or it's gonna be somebody better with a gun than you are that's gonna have more ammunition than you. It's gonna, eventually, if the most high made a situation with food and things like that is scarce, I don't care how much food you got stocked up, there's gonna come a day where you're gonna run out of food, and then you gotta live beyond that. You know what I mean? So the point is your faith has to be in the Most High. You do what you feel called to do for survival in the meantime, because there might be blocks of time where things come in handy. But ultimately, if you're going to make it or not, is all in the Most High's hands, okay? Ain't none of that stuff going to save you. You know what I mean? And so when these things become more and more evident, then like I said, women, like even now, women can afford to be a little more masculine or a lot more masculine and things like that based on the fact. And I mean, not just masculine like the way they act or the way they talk. I mean, just in their mentality of independence and things like that. Because we're in a coddled world right now where that is supported. You know what I mean? Because you have a system, you have programs and structures and things like that that set up that will enable you to be able to feel that way. You know what I mean? But when you peel it all back, when you scale all of it back, and if all those things are taken away from you, that's when you really realize where you are at. And if you really are who you think you are as far as being independent. Like, as a man, I know, look, I don't play that game. I know everything's in the Most High's hands. You see what I mean? And, like I said, you do what you got to do within reason and what you feel like you need to do based on your particular situation and who you are in the eyes of the Most High to do what you need to do. You know what I mean? To maintain yourself, yes. But at the same time, it's all in the Most High's hands. And so, to cap all this off, but that's mainly what I wanted to say about that verse. That's my interpretation of it. And I just wanted to, like I said, to piggyback off of the video I did below this one, where, that's why how it relates directly to the video below this one too, is I was talking about women financially taking care of men. And I know a lot of you guys will listen to that. Will listen to that. And even though I probably said it eloquently and probably made you more receptive to a message like that than you would typically be, depending on who you are and how you think, how you feel about me personally. But at the same time, that, money, this is, it's more practical when you look at it this way. When money becomes less of what you are valuing and maintaining yourself, but money is still a thing. So kind of how it is now, how we in the beginning stages of it now. where money is still a thing, right? But the money could be the easiest thing for you to make. The thing that may be the thing that will end up being the most valuable is the grace and the mercy of the Most High. And ain't no amount of money gonna be able to buy you that, if that makes sense. So if there are men of the Lord, you see what I mean, or the Most High that has his favor, you see what I'm saying? Women might be willing to bargain their money for the favor of the Most High. You know what I mean? Because the Most High mixes and blends whatever he wants to mix and blend, however he wants to mix and blend it. So everybody has different gifts. Everybody has different callings. Everybody has different roles in the body. So that's why I always talk about my support system. You know what I'm saying? I have a great support system and things like that, or a good enough support system. And more than what a lot of people have and would have or have to have and things like that. And so with that said is, you know what I mean? But the way I look at it is I look at it while I'm appreciative and have gratitude and humble about it, at the same time, I do have a level of confidence in knowing that anything that I have and I have around me is because my Father, the Most High, has put it in place, and everybody does have a role. You see what I mean? And like this right here is part of my role, okay? And having my son be in front of the camera, the reason I like to let them record for me sometimes is because this is a way that I know he can get the message firsthand. So even if he never goes back and look at a video like this, he's recording it. So this is getting into his subconscious mind one way or another. You see what I mean? Then he can always go back and refer to this as well. So I'm teaching at this point. If nobody else, I'm at least teaching my son. Let's say this video didn't get not one view. It got at least one view that I'm very, a view that I value more than if I watch it myself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, guys, hopefully this was a good video. Something to think about. Peace.